The truth doesn't hide for long, not in Jax's world. This episode pulls the mask off everyone pretending to have it together. The courtroom is tense, alliances are cracking, and Jax is done playing nice. When she finally steps up and checks Monica, it's not just a clapback, it's a warning shot. This isn't business anymore. It's personal. And with Ozzie's trial finally underway, one wrong move could destroy everything Jax has built. The story picks up right where the storm left off. Jax is standing in the middle of a professional battlefield, her career on the line and her emotions barely held together. The last few episodes have pushed her to the edge, dealing with betrayal, secrets, and a justice system that doesn't always play fair. Episode 5 wastes no time reminding us that this is not just another case. This is a test of who Jax really is when everything she values starts slipping through her fingers. Before the trial even begins, we feel the tension brewing. The camera lingers on her face calm, but her eyes say everything. She's tired of being underestimated, tired of pretending things don't bother her. The world sees Jax as the unshakable defense attorney, the one who never loses control. But this episode strips away that armor. Every scene feels heavier, as if each conversation could explode into chaos. You can sense she's fighting more than a case. She's fighting herself, her doubts, and her past choices. Monica, on the other hand, is rising. She's confident, almost too confident, walking through the firm like she already owns it. There's an unspoken competition between her and Jax, and everyone in the office can feel it. The air between them could cut glass. The show's writing makes this dynamic electric. It's not just rivalry. It's the collision of ambition, pride, and power. Monica has learned the rules, but Jax wrote them, and that difference becomes clearer as the episode unfolds. Meanwhile, Ozzie's trial casts a long shadow over everything. The stakes are sky high. Every lawyer in that courtroom knows this case could make or break reputations. Ozzie's freedom hangs in the balance, and Jax is the only one standing between him and a lifetime behind bars. But what makes it even more gripping is how personal this case feels. Ozzie isn't just a client, he's a reflection of Jax's own sense of justice. If she loses him, it's not just a professional defeat. It's a moral one. It's a piece of her identity slipping away. The episode moves like a slow burn, filled with long silences and loaded stares. The writing gives every moment weight. Even the quietest exchanges feel like battles. When Jax walks into court, she doesn't just enter as a lawyer. She steps in as a warrior, fully aware that every eye is on her, every word will be twisted, and every mistake will be used against her. The way she straightens her jacket before facing the jury says it all, no matter what's happening inside her. She refuses to break. The recap also reminds us of the chaos outside the courtroom, Jax's family life, her complicated relationships, and her loneliness that hides behind all that power. These threads keep this story human. We see her trying to be strong for everyone else, while no one seems to be strong for her. It's this mix of vulnerability and resilience that makes Jax such a captivating character. She doesn't just survive. She evolves under pressure. Each trial, each betrayal, shapes her into someone sharper, tougher, and more aware of who she can trust, which, at this point, might be no one. As the episode builds toward the trial, every frame feels like a countdown. The showrunners do something brilliant. They make you feel the walls closing in. The pressure is real, and the smallest decisions start to matter. A look, a pause, a whispered name, everything means something. And as we move closer to the big confrontation with Monica, it's clear that this episode isn't just about winning a case. It's about claiming control. It's about showing everyone, especially Monica, that Jax still runs the room even when the world thinks she's cornered. This recap sets the stage perfectly. The lines are drawn. The battle between Jax and Monica is more than personal. It's symbolic. Power versus pride, loyalty versus ambition, truth versus survival. Episode 5 doesn't just move the story forward. It sharpens it, pulls every storyline tight until you can almost hear it snap. By the time the trial begins, you already know something big is coming. And when Jax finally stands face to face with Monica, you can feel it in your chest. This isn't going to end quietly. The episode opens like a quiet storm. There's no shouting, no chaos, just tension so sharp it could slice through silence. Jax enters the firm that morning with a calm that feels rehearsed. Every step is measured, every glance calculated. She's walking through familiar halls that no longer feel the same. You can sense it, the energy in the building has shifted. Eyes follow her, whispers ripple behind her, and even the walls seem to echo judgment. Monica has been busy. She's planted herself in Jax's territory, spreading charm like perfume and strategy like poison. When the two finally come face to face, it's not a dramatic explosion. It's quieter, colder, the kind of confrontation that cuts deeper because no one raises their voice. Monica greets her with a smile that doesn't touch her eyes. Jax, on the other hand, doesn't bother pretending. Her silence says more than words could. It's that kind of scene where every pause feels like a paragraph. The show doesn't need dialogue to show dominance. It uses body language. Monica's chin lifts just slightly, confident. Jax doesn't flinch. She's still, focused, dangerous in her calmness. You know something's coming. You just don't know when. Their conversation starts polite, professional even. But every line has a double meaning. Monica talks about team unity and firm direction, but Jax hears what's underneath ambition, competition, betrayal. The air between them feels electric, and the tension builds like a courtroom cross-examination. Jax finally leans forward, just enough to make Monica blink. Her words are sharp, deliberate, and perfectly controlled. She doesn't shout, doesn't threaten, but she checks Monica in a way that freezes the room. The message is clear. I built this place. Don't forget who taught you the game. This isn't just a workplace rivalry, it's a philosophical war. Monica represents the new generation of lawyers, image-driven and politically sharp. Jax represents something older, deeper, a belief in truth, in skill in fighting for something real even when it breaks you. The scene plays like a mirror match, two women who reflect each other's strengths and fears. You can almost feel the writer's intent here. It's not about good versus evil. It's about power versus principle. And that's what makes it so addictive to watch. What's brilliant about this scene is the subtle direction. The camera never gives us full control. It cuts between faces, close-ups, reflections, and hands. You see Jax's fingers tapping lightly on her notebook, a sign of restraint. You see Monica's smirk falter for half a second when Jax holds her gaze. It's all there, the power struggle hidden in glances and pauses. The lighting is soft but heavy, casting shadows on their faces that almost tell a story of their own. Monica in the light, Jax half in shadow. It's visual storytelling at its best, showing us that in this episode, roles are about to reverse. The beauty of this opening isn't in what's said, it's in what's left unsaid. You can feel years of mentorship, jealousy, and unspoken resentment sitting in the space between them. Jax once believed in Monica, trusted her even. But now, that trust feels like a weapon turned against her. Monica's ambition has crossed into disrespect, and Jax's patience is running thin. Still, she keeps her composure. She doesn't lose control. She simply reminds Monica that power built on manipulation doesn't last long. It's a checkmate move disguised as a casual remark. By the end of their exchange, the tone of the episode is set. The war is no longer subtle. It's declared. Monica leaves the room smiling, but it's the kind of smile you wear after being hit with truth too sharp to ignore. Jax, meanwhile, doesn't celebrate. She just exhales, adjusts her jacket, and walks away, carrying both victory and exhaustion. Because for her, every win costs something. That's what makes her so magnetic. She doesn't win for ego. She wins because losing isn't an option. Not in court, not in life, and definitely not to someone she helped build. This scene does something rare. It gives power to silence. It shows how strength doesn't always need volume. Sometimes, the most dangerous people are the ones who don't need to raise their voice to change the temperature of a room. Jax embodies that perfectly here. She reclaims her authority without a single threat, without a single scream. She checks Monica with grace, and in doing so, reminds everyone watching that quiet confidence is louder than arrogance will ever be. As the camera fades out, the sound of her heels clicking against the firm's marble floor echoes like punctuation. That's not just a walk away, it's a statement. Jax is back in control. And now that the trial is starting, the whole city is about to remember why you never bet against her. The courtroom feels colder than usual. Maybe it's the lighting, maybe it's the silence, that uneasy quiet that hangs heavy before something life-changing begins. Ozzie sits at the defense table, his hands clasped, his eyes fixed straight ahead. You can tell he's trying to stay calm, but his body betrays him, a tightening jaw, a restless tap of his fingers. This isn't just another day in court for him. This is survival. Every word that's about to be spoken will decide whether he walks free or disappears into the system forever. And right next to him sits Jax, steady as stone, the calm in the storm he doesn't yet realize he needs. When Jax stands, the energy shifts. There's no music, no applause, just the quiet scrape of her chair and the soft echo of her heels. That sound alone demands attention. The jury watches her like she's the story they've come to hear. And in a way, she is. The prosecution opens strong, sharp, rehearsed, their words designed to make Ozzie look like a villain before he can even breathe. Every sentence is a trap, crafted to build a wall around him. But Jax listens, head tilted slightly, eyes calculating. She's not just hearing what they say, she's searching for what they're afraid to say. That's her gift. She sees fear in confidence and weakness in arrogance. When it's her turn, Jax doesn't rush. She begins slowly, her voice low and controlled. There's no anger, no emotion, just truth dressed in simplicity. She doesn't fight the prosecution's story, she rewrites it. Every word she uses feels deliberate, like a scalpel cutting away lies layer by layer. She reminds the jury that doubt is powerful, that in this courtroom, certainty without proof is just storytelling. And suddenly, the whole room leans in. The way she moves, the way she pauses before each keyword, it's theater, but it's also conviction. You can feel her belief in Ozzie, even if she's still figuring out what the truth really is. The camera work during this sequence is masterful. It follows Jax's rhythm, close-ups on her face when she delivers a line that hits hard, wide. Shots when she circles the courtroom, commanding space like a queen on her chessboard. Ozzie looks at her with a mix of gratitude and disbelief. For a moment, you can tell he feels safe. That's what Jax does best. She makes people believe in hope again, even in places built to crush it. But behind that confidence, there's something else in her eyes, the exhaustion. Every case she wins takes a little more from her. And yet, she keeps giving. As the testimony begins, the tension tightens. Witnesses step up one by one, their voices shaky, their stories rehearsed. The prosecution tries to paint Ozzie as cold, calculated, dangerous. But Jax's cross-examinations slice through their narrative like a blade. She doesn't attack, she exposes. A single question, delivered with calm precision, can unravel an entire testimony. It's a chess match she's played 1,000 times, but this one feels different. This one feels like she's fighting for more than a client. Maybe she's fighting for her own reflection, the part of herself that still believes justice can exist in a system built on perception. The dialogue in this part of the episode is sharp, fast, and emotionally charged. Each exchange feels like it's loaded with hidden meaning. When Jax locks eyes with the judge, you sense mutual respect and quiet warning. When she glances at Monica, sitting smugly in the audience, the air freezes again. Their earlier confrontation still lingers like smoke. Every small victory Jax earns in court feels like a message meant for Monica. You may play politics, but I play truth, and it's working. Bit by bit, Jax starts turning the courtroom energy in her favor. One of the most powerful moments comes when Jax questions a witness who clearly isn't telling the full truth. She doesn't raise her voice. Instead, she lowers it, forcing the room to lean closer. It's a masterclass in control. You can see the witness start to crumble, eyes darting, words stumbling. The camera cuts to Ozzie, who looks at Jax like she's performing a miracle. But Jax doesn't smile. For her, this isn't about winning, it's about balance. It's about making sure the truth doesn't drown beneath manipulation and power. That's what separates her from everyone else in that room. By the time the judge calls a recess, the entire courtroom feels changed. The tension hasn't gone, it's just evolved. Jax sits back, exhales slowly, and looks at Ozzie. There's a quiet exchange between them, no words, just trust. He knows she's fighting for him. She knows the war is far from over, and as Monica watches from a distance, eyes narrowed, you can see what she's thinking. She underestimated Jax. Again, this section of the episode isn't just about legal drama, it's about control, truth, and the performance of power. The trial becomes a mirror of the characters themselves. Every argument, every objection, every silence reveals who's truly in charge. And by the end of it, one thing is clear. Jax isn't here to survive the trial. She's here to redefine it. The system may not always be fair, but when she steps into that courtroom, fairness starts to look possible again. When the courtroom lights fade and the camera follows Jax outside, the silence feels heavier than any verdict. The trial may have paused, but the war hasn't. This episode does something brilliant. It takes us behind the polished speeches and legal jargon and shows us the mess beneath it all. Because reasonable doubt has never just been about justice. In court, it's about the personal trials that follow you home. And for Jax, those battles are the hardest to win. The world outside the courtroom feels colder now. Her phone keeps buzzing, unanswered calls, unread messages. People need her, but she has nothing left to give. The fight for Ozzie's freedom has consumed everything else, her peace, her patience, even her sleep. You can see it in the way she moves through her house, quiet and detached, as if she's living in someone else's life. The show doesn't need to spell it out. Her isolation speaks louder than words. She's surrounded by success, but loneliness is the only thing she can rely on. Meanwhile, Monica isn't done playing her game. In every firm meeting, in every hallway whisper, her name keeps surfacing. She's building influence, pulling allies, and setting traps that look like opportunities. She knows Jax is distracted, focused on the trial, and she uses that to her advantage. Her motives aren't simple, though. Monica doesn't just want power, she wants validation. She wants to prove that she can outsmart the woman who once mentored her. That makes her dangerous. Ambition without loyalty always is. There's a quiet scene in this episode that says everything about their dynamic. Monica stands in Jax's old office, looking out the window. She doesn't touch anything, she just observes. It's not envy you see on her face, it's calculation. She's imagining herself in that space, running the firm, owning the spotlight. But what she doesn't realize is that Jax never chased power for the spotlight, she chased it for survival. That difference is what separates them. Monica wants to be seen, Jax wants to be heard. And the show makes the contrast clear with every frame. Parallel to this, Damon's absence lingers like a ghost. Even when he's not on screen, his presence is felt. The history between him and Jax is complicated, not toxic, but unfinished. Every mention of him pulls at a different version of Jax, one that's softer, more human. It's almost like he represents the part of her that still believes in second chances. But there's no space for that version of her right now. The trial demands her full focus, and the emotional armor she's built doesn't allow cracks. Yet, when she looks at Ozzie, sometimes it feels like she's seeing Damon, another man caught between the truth and the story the world wants to tell about him. Even the supporting characters start to carry weight here. Spence, for instance, tries to keep the firm steady while tension rises between the two women. He's the balance, loyal to both, afraid to choose. His eyes tell the story of a man watching two storms collide, knowing whichever one wins, the foundation might still crumble. These side plots are quiet but vital. They remind us that every decision Jax makes ripples through more lives than she realizes. There's also something symbolic happening in how Jax handles her personal life during the trial. She's distant from her family, not out of neglect, but out of exhaustion. Her children call, her mother checks in, but she can't seem to connect. Every conversation feels rehearsed, every smile forced. The show uses this to highlight what ambition costs, not just peace, but presence. Jax has spent her whole life mastering control, and now it's clear that control is both her weapon and her cage. Monica's motives grow clearer as the episode unfolds. She's not purely villainous, she's human, and that's what makes her threat more real. You start to see flashes of insecurity behind her confidence. She wants respect, not just from the firm but from Jax. Deep down, she still seeks approval from the very woman she's trying to dethrone. It's tragic in a quiet way, ambition eating away at admiration until there's nothing left but rivalry. By the middle of the episode, all these threads start to tighten. Jax's exhaustion becomes visible. Her eyes tell stories her words won't. Monica's confidence starts to look more like performance. The walls of the firm, once a place of power, now feel like a battlefield built from secrets. Every conversation feels loaded, every alliance temporary. You can sense something breaking, not in a loud, explosive way, but in the quiet collapse that happens before the storm hits.